And hello, everybody. Welcome to Roll with Advantage. I am not Joe, I am Mark. I feel like at this point we all know what the deal is there. Don't know if I need to say it a fifth time. So, welcome back to Rising Ash. We are nearing the final stretch of this campaign. And as I do, I will now quickly go over the summary of Session 4 and generally things leading up to this. First off, though, gotta give a huge, massive, ginormous, humongo shout out to McBoy Doodle for their 10-month subscription streak. Let's all clap 10 times. Feel like that was just me, but okay. Thank you, McBoy Doodle.
It was just you and your mic didn't pick it up.
That's hilarious. McBoy Doodle, I clapped 10 times. My noise filtration thing is too good sometimes, and it filters out me making strange noises because it thinks that it's a problem that I would want to be eliminated. It's okay. I clapped for you, and I'm very glad to still have you around. It's been great. Thank you for the subscription. Hope you enjoy tonight's session. Meanwhile, I will be getting into this summary. So, Rising Ash, as we all know at this point, 3 agents have been assembled, some military, some associates of the military, to go into the depths of the Forest of Ash in the theocratic empire of Machavia, find a High Exarch cleric that has gone MIA, sort out his possible involvement with the recent appearance of devils and other such entities in the area, and purify the region in whatever means necessary without the larger public of the kingdom knowing that there was danger so close on the precipice. So, Session 4 began in the Sanctuary of Lady Melina, a powerful and mysterious cleric of Pelor, who they were told could be of assistance fighting the devils, if they so chose to do that. They sought her out, and even though they almost died to Baal's forces on the way because he greatly disapproved of that decision, they eventually found her, they found safe harbor, and she caught them up on everything that she knew about the situation, her own feud with Baal, what little she did know about the origins of the Fallen. There were a lot of details about the current circumstances that she just didn't know. She had dedicated her recent energy to taking care of people rather than fighting, but given the circumstances that the party laid out for her, she seemed willing to aid in whatever way she could. So the session began in the morning, in which Melina offered to distract Baal's devilish forces and to track down the Fallen as best she could, while the party got away from the area to go focus on High Exarch Ambrose. Ambrose had recently declared that he was going to invade Theowaldo. He said that he had realized it was the vein of corruption and must be rooted out and purified to truly save the region. So they parted ways with Lady Melina. They left her to deal with the devils as best she could as they went and saved the people of Theowaldo North. Once they were there, they split off into various tasks after talking to the Baron there, Cyril, for a little bit, all to make a plan to neutralize Ambrose and eventually, hopefully, get some information from him and start to piece together the rest of the situation. So, in that time, Eris ended up reconvening with Leo, a soldier that they had traveled with in the very beginning of their journey before getting dropped off into the Forest of Ash. And he basically had heard wind of what was happening. He went rogue, abandoned his post, got some of his most trusted companions that he'd been fighting with for all of his time in the military, over a decade now, and he offered his help in any way that they would have him, knowing that his career would probably be over after this, but he just needed to do something, knowing the severity of what was going on. And Eris agreed to that, and they figured out what would be the best way for him to join the villagers and help protect them. And in addition to that, Calloway, spent some time preparing things with Cyril, finding good places to set up in the terrain and the land, learning the best place to defend. And they both talked about the past a little bit. And it turns out both Cyril, from a bureaucratic standpoint, and Calloway as a soldier were on the side of the Shepherd in the climactic war that Machavia had with Tarkir around a decade before the events of this campaign. They both expressed regret for that, but they both agreed that it was best now to move on and just try to do the right thing in this situation, even if it meant that technically what the things they were doing might go against codes of the Empire. They were doing all they could to truly do the right thing and purify the region, as they were sent to do. And finally, Tivik'ka went to go speak to Melchior again. Second Ascended Melchior Nenu, who was an informant sent by Ambrose to the village a while ago that they had talked to before. Melchior was able to get Tivik'ka in touch with Ambrose after some philosophizing back and forth. And eventually, Tivik'ka was able to talk to Ambrose directly through these magical means and basically propose a secure meeting with him in order to gain information. Luckily, this played right into Ambrose's flaw, his desire for everybody to just understand the terrible things that he is doing, and he agreed. So the party now felt that the village was prepared. They had secured a meeting with Ambrose that would probably just be the three of them alone with him, and they felt like they were as ready as they could be to neutralize him and then help win the fight against the invaders. They acquired some poison from Eileen, some very powerful paralysis poison, and once they met up on the treetops, Ambrose tried to reach out to them, approaching slowly, unstably, as it were, to try to show the party visions of the fallen. He reached out a hand to do so, hoping that one of them would reach back, but before anybody could properly do so, Calloway used the poison, and in his paralyzed state, it was only a matter of seconds before Ambrose was defeated, neutralized, tied up, and separated from his holy gear. He fell apart into confusion, dismay, betrayal, tears even. And suddenly, somebody that the party had only seen peripherally and not spoken to yet, showed up. It was Coadjutor Calamine, the second-hand man of Ambrose, the leader himself. They didn't give Calamine too much of a chance to speak. It seemed he was there to organize some sort of deal, give them some sort of information. But in order to buy them time and get ready for a violent response, Tivik'ka cast Banishment on Calamine. They prepared for his return, and much to their surprise, he didn't. Calamine just disappeared. They never got that information. They never got that fight, that conversation, whatever it was going to be. Calamine was gone. And the party concluded that this must mean that he was not of this plane. At least not entirely. At least not anymore. But with him no longer there, and with Ambrose completely disheveled, they decided that they couldn't get that information right now. It would be best to check on the villagers. So as we pick up, Eris and Calloway have remained up in the treetops with Ambrose. Tivik'ka is headed down the treetops back to where the villagers are waiting for the assault to see how things have gone so far, inform them of recent developments. And we will go ahead and just pick up right there. Just give me one moment. So, Evening is starting to approach for everybody. Lights are getting a little more dim. And we will start up on the treetops with Eris and Calloway. The last thing that you heard before we cut away last session was Ambrose on the floor, in tears, asking to himself, where did he go so wrong? But we will only remain here if there is something that you all wish, the two of you wish to say to him. So, is there anything? I will ask. Any questions about the situation? Any comments? Any consolation, even, if that would occur to either of you? Anything you would like to say to the defeated Ambrose?
Yeah, I think Eris would, after looking at this sad sap on the ground, she'd kind of look at Calloway, what's Calloway's vibe seeing this guy, the state he's in, I guess.
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, so Calloway is almost like he just completely looking down at this shell of a man. Not quite with pity, I guess, but close to it. I don't know, it's just sad, and his face looks recognizing that it's just sad.
Mm-hmm. Eris will kind of get down on one knee next to him. You really don't know where you went wrong? Walk me through that.
Alright. So I'll turn back up to you for a moment before looking back down to the ground, his eyes searching for clarity. I'll share the image of this man with both of you again. It all began and so clear. It made all of that pain make sense. It made it all worth it. That I could turn those things and he looks down again. He's just kind of drawing haggard breaths for a moment before he manages to continue. I had to do many horrid things for the sake of the Empire in order to win that war. I remained an exarch, but I was the most sinful of the 8. I prayed, and I prayed for the purity to wash over me, for my wrongdoings to be lost in the ash of the white flame. But they were remembered. They haunted me every night. And it was when I first had the visions in Theoaldo South that I knew My body was meant to hold this sin. If Calamine had not remained with me, I would not have the strength to do it. But he did. Seven villages. All to prepare me for the hidden trail. The place where it all began centuries ago.
What are you talking about?
The Fallen, she managed to root out all the corruption in this forest. She made it the forest of ash that it is today. This vein of corruption was where it all ended. The beginning and the end, the true evils of this region were burned. All of it with her. But before she could finish, she was taken. And in its place, this Theoaldo, as these misguided people call it, grew in its place. But that fiend, that Duke of the Third Layer, has watched this land ever since her demise. These people grow the vein stronger and stronger, confused by its beauty and peace. It was only in Theoaldo South where I met the Fallen. I knew her work had to be redone. All that remains is the vein. But whether or not I'm there to do it, I have faith this vein will go.
Explain to me your definition of corruption. 'Cause we've been here in Theoaldo, and there is none. There's nothing to be cleansed. What proof do you have? And don't say the Fallen, don't say any visions. How do you know?
I extended my hand to show you when you stabbed me in the back.
Can you blame us?
I can. You were not willing to receive the truth. At all.
You're not willing to listen to any reason.
Present me with a reason. Present me with any, because as far as I can see, you denied my peaceful invitation. You snuck into that village to watch me. You banished my coadjutor.
Yes, after you took out all those cities, all those innocent people. We have no reason to trust you. Why should we? I'm not gonna take your hand. I'm not gonna see a vision. I need you, the human being you are, not some vision.
important moments in all of the history of Macavia happened when us mere mortals were unified by the voice of a great power from beyond, whether by force or not. You are on the wrong side, and I am simply the next era of the White Flame. There is no logic that can be told to you. Faith is all there is.
You're right. Faith is all there is. And yours has been twisted and abused. And I'm sorry, but you're too far gone. It's unfortunate. We thought we could help you. And she'll get up and kind of not leave, but just like she's exiting the conversation.
Mm-hmm. So as you start to walk, Ambrose will turn then to Calloway for a moment, then look back to the ground. Do whatever you wish with this body. My soul will transcend.
Calloway will kind of walk around to behind him and will say, you claim that it's a truth that you're wanting to show us. How many truths have you been fed your entire life? Different ones. The truth about Tarkir, Macavia, Fallen. Truth is a lie. And I'm not going to let you keep doing this to people. And he's going to take cut a piece of fabric off of him and wrap it around his mouth and tie it behind and gag him.
Okay. Alright, and he, not that he could, but he resists in no way. And that just leaves the two of you up here, as Tivik'ka begins to make their way down the tree to the others. Is there any last comments the two of you would make to one another?
Calloway... Oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
Oh, I was just going to say that Calloway would give just kind of a slow glance at Eris, just kind of verbal confirmation about how ridiculous this was, or not verbal, eye contact communication about it, but
yeah.
Didn't say anything.
After making the eye contact, Eris will come over and just kind of put a strong grasp on his shoulder, just kind of like a squeeze. Just reassuring that they've got each other, even in this topsy-turvy, ridiculous conversation that we just had with this psychotic man.
Calloway will just kind of give a nod of acceptance and let the silence speak for itself.
Okay. With that, then, we can head down amongst the others, as Tivik'ka was headed down the tree. So, Tivik'ka, remind me of your exact plan of action here, other than go to the peeps. That's what I remember.
Yeah, kind of more like a little scouting thing, because obviously they don't want to keep Ambrose up here. And they know they need help down there, but don't want to bring Ambrose down with us if there's more of his people that could potentially, get him back. So pretty much just scouting to try and gauge where his people are, where his little cultists are, and if there is a safe route to be able to, I guess, get Ambrose back into the town so he can be kind of secured in there.
Okay. Go ahead and perception check to see if you spot any of Ambrose's group anywhere in the nearby area.
Ooh. That is a 17.
Okay. With a 17, you not only don't see any cultists, but you're fairly confident that you didn't miss anything. There's not really much sign of them yet. And as you're looking in any possible direction that they could come from, any of the somewhat obscured entrances to Theowaldo, yeah, you just can't seem to quite find anything.
Right. And now I cannot remember. Have we used the Sending Stone today? We haven't, right? Because why would we have?
Yeah,
We did in the morning, though, didn't we? Before we got into Theowaldo?
I remember somebody messaging Cyril about what had happened, and Cyril saying that he would send backup. Because Calamine showed up, you banished him, you called for some sort of reinforcement. And
we did.
yeah.
We did use it. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's used.
No worries. That was just more as a double checking thing anyways. Well, I guess satisfied that there's no one there, and it doesn't look like there's fighting happening in Theowaldo, does it?
No. It's pretty quiet.
Okay. Also just not liking the idea of not knowing where these cultists are. They're gonna give like a little bit of a frown, but then they're just gonna bamf back up onto the tree because Callaway still has their little talisman.
Okay.
And relay that there's nothing, we should be able to take him down.
Okay, so right around the time Tivik'ka pops up is when your conversation would have ended, and the three of you are able to reconvene, share that information. And you hear a set of footsteps approaching up one of the three rooftops, and it is just a group of a couple of archers and a couple of pike-wielding soldiers that just hop up. They're in a bit of a formation as they slowly get up the stairs, and they look around, and they all just sort of glance towards you in confusion as there seems to be nothing in sight except the three of you and a bound and gagged Ambrose.
Thank you,
Plans
guys.
have changed a little bit now. Appreciate you all coming, but now it seems our priority is to be able to get him back into the town and secured. And we would appreciate your help in making sure that nothing happens to him on his journey.
We'll clear the path ahead of you. And they just sort of move into position, get on your platform, being careful to move along the narrow bridges one at a time that connect them. And yeah, they just sort of get ahead of the three of you, kind of clear the path, and one of the pikemen in the back will just turn around and give a nod that everything is clear.
Nice. How bound do we have him? Do we want him to walk, or should Eris fireman carry?
I mean, you could do that, or we could just, find his feet, but, it's so you can only do, little shuffles, as if you're wearing, a pencil skirt,
Yeah.
That's so funny.
So he's got, 30 centimeters of...
All right, we now need fan art of Ambrose in a pencil skirt.
Yes. Well, we'll bound his legs so we can move a little quicker, and he won't try and dash away. Eris will pick him up.
Mm-hmm.
And over the shoulder, fireman carry. Let's go.
Okay. So, with Ambrose, the frail man, he's pretty easy to pick up. And you can tell just as you're hoisting him up that his time out in the woods has not treated him well. He probably has overlooked any sort of basic care or health, and clearly gotten quite gaunt. There's not much under his armor anymore. But you get him hoisted up, and the 4 soldiers are able to just continue moving down gradually. They're expertly checking corners and maintaining formation in front of the 3 of you. And you can eventually... I heard a noise.
Yes, that was me. Because this whole attack on the town is going to happen at midnight, right? If I recall?
Mm-hmm.
So, what time is it now?
Well, it was around 11 when you first met with Ambrose. You popped down the tree, looked around, back up. You're down the tree again. Probably close to 11:40.
Well,
I definitely want to make sure that Ambrose is in town well before it hits 12 then.
Yeah, we'll hasten. That's another reason why I was like, let's pick him up so we can move at a quick pace.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're not jogging, but we want to make good time.
Yep. All right. So you do. And you get down, and again, all quiet. No sounds of conflict of any kind. Seems like anybody is either at the defensive plateau, ready for the invasion, or inside, somewhere hiding out, other than the 8 of you. So, where would you like to put Ambrose?
I know we had Melchior in a place.
Mm-hmm.
Does Cyril have a place? Not the same one? Like another place like that?
That's the building where you put people. If you don't want to put them in the same building, I guess the only other
it could
thing...
be the same building, just a different room. Like, I just don't want them in the same room.
Yeah, there's a few spots in there.
Okay.
So it wouldn't
we
be
just
like...
don't want them conniving together.
Yeah, they don't have to be cellmates.
Cool.
Yeah, make sure there's proper guard and everything there as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Especially, definitely proper guards and everything.
All right.
I'm thinking that.
Well, sounds fair to me. So you walk in, and the guards get in first. They clear it. You hear a gasp from Melchior as you all come in. He doesn't say anything, but you can all see him look at Ambrose on Eris's shoulders and kind of fill with a look of worry and grief and defeat and regret for helping organize the meeting, but he doesn't say anything. He just eventually looks to the ground. And you can easily get Ambrose at the opposite end of the relatively small building. And just make sure that he's locked securely. The 4 guards that were with you will just kind of get into a formation. One will get to the front door, keep an eye on Melchior. And the other 3 will be around Ambrose's room and down the hall and things like that, all within visibility of one another. And they're just all there and organized.
Hell yeah.
And the same pikeman who kind of been leading the group this whole time will turn to the 3 of you, give a quick genuflect down to the knee and rise. A perfect tonic of reverence and military efficiency as he just poop, poop, and he's back up. And then a nod. You've done good service. We will keep him here.
As have you. Thank you. And Eris will also do like a bow, something that I'm sure she knows what the proper respect is. I don't.
Yes.
But a bow, hand over the heart, something to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you would not genuflect since you're of much higher station. But,
right.
But yes.
The respectful response, though.
Mm-hmm. Bow in return.
you shouldn't go.
Should we go talk to Cyril? I know we have to update Melina so we can figure out. I'm not really role playing. I'm just kind of talking. I'm so sorry. What are we doing now?
So there was supposed to be a strike at midnight, and it's like 15 till, right?
Yep.
Ish. Are we need to probably be on the ready to be watching at the time, just in case anything goes down at midnight without him either way. So I don't know if we have much time for like super long conversations unless we meet with her or Cyril or whoever, and like, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess we could just go get into formation as well in preparation and keep an eye out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at least just letting them know that Ambrose is now detained and here, just so if anything happens, they can respond accordingly.
Yeah. Cool.
So we'll make our rounds.
I'm going to take their pendant back, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
I want those retices.
That's fair.
Yeah, I just imagine you sort all that out, and Tivik'ka's like, "Oh, hey, no, I." Wait, hold on.
No, they totally just do it. Like, just go to Callaway, unpin it, fine now.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
So, 3 of you can head to the main peninsula then. So, by the time you get there, there's maybe only 5 minutes left before midnight. And this map, I will let you know right now, is very big. So, I am going to just use the token of Eris right now to represent the party. And I will go ahead and move all of you over. So, all the way up top is all of you right now. You can see sandbags right next to you, over there on some other sides. Wooden fences like here and here that have been spiked into the ground to provide cover, much like the sandbags, but they're a little taller and a little less sturdy. You can see ladders as well. From where you are is the lowest point, so there's a ladder here that goes up. There's a ladder right next to it that goes up to a bridge. There's a ladder sort of in that bottom left area that goes up to the final chunk. There are bridges that cross the running water, some foliage, and then those ropes with anchor points. Callaway, those are the zip lines that you observed.
Okay.
So, and they would all go like bottom to top, basically, south to north, due to the elevation. So, right here on the highest part there's one over here on the right that zips down to the left, kind of where you can see Leo's token. And then that tree on the same chunk of land right there zips down the gulch over here. But, like I said, you guys, to get to them, you just need to climb the normal way. Those are definitely a downward thing. And then, last but not least, just these ripples in the water indicate the flow. So it is flowing northward, and you can see these rock walls here are kind of areas where the elevation drastically increases and creates a little bit of a fall. So that one's about 10 feet. That next one up here is about 10 feet as well. All that said, like I said, this map is huge, so we're operating more under the assumption that a tile is your full turn's movement. So these characters here, you can see Leo that far away. He is actually 6 times as far as that away. But you can see Leo behind some sandbags with a couple squads of pikemen. Cyril above him with a couple squads of archers. And Eileen with a couple of squads of mages just across the bridge. And they are all just waiting. Now, as all of you round the corner and start to take all of this in, you can all perceive one of the archers far, far away, rack a crossbow on top of the wooden guard. But then you see Cyril make a hand motion. He just raises a hand toward the three of you, looks to the archers look to him, the archers look back, and the weapons are lowered. And you are free to proceed forward.
Let's go talk to our friends.
So, can go ahead and just move everybody. I'll go ahead and unpause the game as well. Getting across this bridge. Tokens rotating. That's cool.
Sorry, I've been trying to like zoom out this entire time, and definitely, I guess I was selected under the token. So trying to zoom out has only been making it rotate around. That solves all of my issues.
I'm glad you sorted it out.
Me too.
So yeah, cross this bridge, over that wooden barrier, up this ladder, further along across the bridge, along this rock face, and now you are within speaking distance of Leo, still standing a good ways away.
I mean, do we want to kind of like split up so we can kind of each go to them rather than like as a group go to like each person one at a time and be like, hey, Amber's captured, we're Gucci there, but like, you know, make sure nothing happens. Like, I feel like it's a good idea to there are three of them and three of us.
Yeah.
To kind of like each go to one and basically just explain, you know, Ambrose has been captured and being held, like, you know, where the little prison area is.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, there you
Eris
all are
will-
then. And you can freely move your tokens wherever you want to go.
Cool. I mean, Eris will go to Leo since she kind of helped organize that squad, and she'll be like, "Yo, fam, this happened."
And I'll do the same with Cyril, I guess.
Okay.
And I'll be over here. I'll totally just like go across the thing and just levitate up because fuck having to do all those crossings.
Love that.
Yeah, just let them know that like obviously that area is important. So if there's ever any like forces heading there, to make sure it's secured enough.
Okay. So yeah, all three of you can convey a similar message to the three of them. They'll all just sort of nod and turn back to the rest of the fray. And with a minute, maybe two remaining, unless there is anything else anyone wants to say, all is quiet. The archers scan the horizon. The pikemen remain low and ready to strike. The mages, just last chance to check any components, any formations, scan the battlefield. And your three primary allies are just watching, waiting for an approach. Any last words before midnight?
This might just be as like a prep thing, but when they see that obviously forces are coming into range, I would like to activate, I guess cast my investor, of flame, which lasts 10 minutes. But I just, since it takes an action, I want to have that ready before we get into initiative.
Okay.
You know, up to 5 allies. Any ally? Okay. Okay, so what I will do is I will... I don't know. We don't even know if people are coming. Yeah, no, I'll do it. 5 allies. So 1, 2, 3. I don't think there's a range. It says up to 5 allies. So I guess it's whoever could hear me. So I'll do these 3 plus Callaway and Tivik'ka. And I'm gonna spend.
Keep in mind
we
that
already
each token represents about 20 soldiers.
Oh.
So those are squads, yeah.
Okay, well, what I'll do is only 5, so Leo and some others.
Okay.
But hopefully the impact will hit on everybody. But she will kind of get on this ledge a little bit and just kind of, whoa, why am I off the map now? Okay, she'll get on the ledge, even though I can't see anything. And I'm using a thing where I can expend leadership die and basically spend 5 minutes and kind of rally my troops and give them temporary hit points. I'm just going to expend, just because I don't know how you're doing that, so I don't want to get all technical. So I'll just expend 1, and maybe you can, like, I don't know how you want to add that to this, however we're planning on doing the battle, but I'll just do 1, and she will kind of get up on the ledge and say, thank you for taking this stand. So far, my time here has been full of sadness and confusion and darkness, and Theowaldo has been a beacon of light. You all need to preserve this light for Azrio, because we're doing the right thing. We are fighting for him, and today will not go unnoticed. Thank you. And they will get temporary hit points. Or each get 1 hit die, technically, of extra temporary hit points. But
Yeah, so
I don't know how you want to flavor that.
I mean, it's each of their hit dies would be a D10.
Cool.
So, okay. Anything else before midnight?
No.
We'll also just quickly say, remember, you get the 11 temp from Tivik'ka.
Yes, I already had that now, which is why I didn't worry about giving temporary hit points to us. No offense.
Yeah, no.
Well, yeah, they literally wouldn't. They can't add, so.
Oh, they can't?
Temporary hit points can't stack, no.
Oh. Well, good. I'm glad I used that for something.
Yeah.
Because in a party with Tivik'ka, that is a useless skill of mine.
No!
Well, you can do it again after you lose them.
Oh, yeah, but it takes 5 minutes.
Wants a rest.
It takes 5 minutes, so yeah, there's no use.
A short rest takes 30 or an hour? Wait, or an hour.
Yeah, short rest takes an hour. I still see a use, but...
Nah. It's a waste.
No.
All right.
It's a long scheme. But anyway, go on, Mark. Be making a story.
Gee, thanks. You know, that is what I like to do. I'm really glad I have a appreciative group of players. All right.
Oh, actually, wait, Soz.
Jesus, okay.
One last point of clarification. Okay, so the town proper is this way to the top right.
Yeah,
'Cause that's where
you're
we're
on the highest point, basically. So the rest of the village really is to the south, yeah.
And so to these sides, is there is that still fortified as part of the town? Are we certain that they're just going to be coming from the bottom here, essentially?
Pretty much, yeah.
What are defenses? Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
there's no... That would be dirty of me if I was just they're just invading a different spot and you lose.
Yeah, no, that's why I was panicking, because I'm just one square is 30 feet, right? Because it's a turn's movement.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're anywhere up north, we're just fucked.
Yeah, their goal is extermination, and, there's really nothing anywhere of note, and the only way they could get in would be to, be in this area, so... Yeah.
Okay.
You're set.
Just want to make sure.
that much was taken care of by Cyril. So, you're set. This is where invaders would be coming. Whenever they come. So, all of that said, well, you have no official way of knowing. It does seem like it's been an hour. An hour since you hit the treetops. And the silence mostly persists. And Calloway, over where you are with Cyril, he will just very slowly look to the sky, and you can see in his eyes a sort of familiarity with the land. And he just very slowly and quietly starts to unlatch his hammer, rather. And he looks to you. However this goes. Thank you.
Calloway will return a nod and summon his echo. And look towards the he'll give a hand on the shoulder to Cyril, from both the echo and Calloway on each of his shoulders, and then they'll both draw their bows and get ready.
Okay. And you'll see the archers look to that, and they'll sort of start nodding and clasping with one another as well in just one last moment. They'll have their bow ready and arrow drawn, and they just slowly reach a hand out to the side. And all just hold on to each other. And a few moments pass, and eventually you hear one of the archers. I think I know who they are. And the rest of the group kind of looks to that archer, a little confused. I think I understand. And Cyril kind of looks with a bit of concern. But that archer turns to him, and another archer turns to him. And Cyril just... What is it? Do you see them? Stay in formation. And the archers look. You worked with the shepherd. And Cyril, there's a look of panic on his face. What are you talking about? I saw what you've done. And Tivik'ka, over by you, some of the mages slowly turn toward Eileen. This place... This place... I finally understand it. It's lost. And Eileen looks to them just... No. Something's come over you. This isn't you. Eris, up by you. One of the pikemen suddenly stands up. Leo looks up. What? Get down. They might see you. And that pikeman just shoves Leo down. And there's a bit of clamor among the rest of the pikemen. Some of them seeming to try to hold that one back. Some of them seeming to also look angrily at Leo. And they all just kind of point down at him. I see it now. It all must go. You should see it too. And they slowly reach out a hand toward Leo, and he swats it away. Just, what are you talking about? And this unease begins to ripple through all three of the groups as slowly and terribly you all witness as something just overcomes some of these people. And they reach out to hold hands with their allies, and then something overcomes them too. Are the three of you doing anything?
How many of them, or I guess what percentage of these groups is now turning in this way?
It seems like about half of people are starting to suddenly get irate and angry and very zealous, but there's no clear line between who it is and who it isn't. There's just, like 50% of them start getting violent, and 50% of them start trying to stop the violence and end up getting pulled into it themselves. And before long, it is shoving and yelling and knocking people down and holding people back, and it's just immediately erupts into chaos, and it's hard to tell who is on anyone's side.
Calloway is going to grab Cyril, as so long as Cyril's not made any contact with these people, and start to retreat a little bit further south and leave his Echo with his sword drawn in that path in case anyone tries to follow them. Not like running away necessarily, but maybe getting, as we can, back behind these sandbags.
Okay. So I'll say, for now, you start to move, and I will duplicate for your Echo real quick as well. Leave it there. And you start moving, and Cyril is just kind of mumbling the whole time. He's like, what's happening? What is this? What is this? And some of the archers start turning, and you see them tightening their bowstrings and looking at him. And he's the one. I know now he's the one who must be purified. You're the corruption they're after. If we just get rid of you. And that voice is lost amongst others that yell out in protest, no, think clearly, you can't do this, as clamor is completely broken into. Yes.
Can I have the Echo trying to sneak around them while this clamor is going and start to just grab the arrows out of the quivers of these angry people as stealthily as he can?
That is very slick. Go ahead and roll a sleight of hand check.
Okay. Oh, that's pretty good. That is a 25.
Okay. So, I will ask, are you doing it... And again, it's really hard to tell with just all of the chaos who is on whose side here and who is still thinking clearly, but are you just kind of disarming everybody, or are you trying to target the people that seem to have turned?
Targeting the people who have turned, but I'm not going to make that like a hard rule because I'd rather nobody have arrows than just the bad people.
Okay, so I'll put you here. The Echo right there. You start doing that. We can just imagine that the real Calloway Prime, if you will, you're sort of just moving your fingers with one hand as you get Cyril to as much safety as you can. Well, your Echo is behind, withdrawing arrows from quivers.
And then tossing them in the river.
Okay, and you just start throwing them. With a 25, you get through like half the group before anyone notices. And then they are going to start turning and making attacks toward the Echo.
While
go ahead.
That happens, I'm going to try to be when I hide with Cyril away from them so that they're distracted by that. Sorry, that was my master plan,
okay.
And now it's over.
No, I got you. In that case, I think with like 15 to 20 people trying to attack your Echo, I believe it is safe to assume one of them hit.
Yes.
So, I will go ahead and just move you behind the sandbags.
Oh yeah.
Meanwhile, the other two of you, similar chaos and confusion. Any action?
Okay. Does whatever's happening to these people, does it seem to be in a magical effect?
No.
Okay. Well, fuck me, I guess. That's okay. I think Tivik'ka would be reluctant to immediately strike out. But it's at this point they're just going to cast out Investiture of Flame.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're essentially just engulfed in this golden flame thinger, and just gets a bunch of things from that. But they're just going to be ready to, I guess, as soon as whatever this is turns hostile, they're just going to be ready to attack, I guess, people they thought they were allies.
Okay. So, you get your spells ready, Eileen, next to you, is preparing just abjuration, trying to protect herself as much as she can, but she's holding out hands. And you see the butterflies that are normally flying around her start to form into a bit of an arc behind her, sort of a defensive shape. And she just holds out her hands to all of them, just, I will not fight any of you. We can solve this without any harm. And it seems the mages are hardly even listening to her, as if she's hardly their focus. And eventually, one of the mages does attack another. So, do you intervene?
I guess yes, and I guess we can't really tell who's, getting this corruption and not, right?
Yeah, with every passing second, it gets harder to tell. Because even the people that were normal at first are getting scary. And it's just, yeah, you hardly know anymore.
Oh, I guess we gotta purify this lot. And so, just as soon as that first attack happens, Tivik'ka will then just lash out with the investiture. I cannot say the word. This is really bad for me. And just in a 15-foot line towards whoever that person was that lashed out. I don't even... Yeah, they get dex saves, but is this gonna let me roll this through here, or do I have to roll? Okay, hell yeah.
There we go.
They have dex saves of a DC 17.
Okay.
Otherwise they're taking 21 flame damage.
Alright, and it's a 15-foot line?
Yes.
Okay.
5 foot wide.
Alright. So, an attack is flung in retaliation, and you just, as soon as you can, try to neutralize the person that seemed to have started it.
Yeah, happily taking other people around it too. Like, at this point, they're just like, it's not worth trying to decide who's good, who's bad.
Yeah, you easily kill 4 of them. Just, and they char. Some of them don't die as quickly and let out terrible screams. And the rest of the crowd, you see some of them turn towards you and start to attack, but you see other ones turn towards those ones and start to attack. You're not sure if they're trying to prevent you from getting hurt or if they're trying to purify these people. You have no idea. And it is just chaos. Eileen will reach out to you with a pleading look and try to stop you. Does Tivik'ka continue?
They don't want to.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it is just a singular action thing. But they are going to keep the spell up. And I'm sure she would, as someone that's arcane, know that she cannot get within 5 feet of them now. Otherwise, she'll also be taking fire damage.
Right.
But as part of that, they're definitely going to keep it up because this is a, hey, keep away from me, otherwise you're going to hurt kind of thing as well.
Mm-hmm.
And they will kind of ignore her gaze, just still looking out to the mages that they've got. I believe that any of you that stand against this corruption will understand that if there are those among us that have already been touched by Ambrose's and the Fallen's influence, I don't think there is any going back, any helping them. And kind of very deliberately look to Melina for those last points that she was so hesitant before.
I assume you mean Eileen.
Eileen!
I'm sorry, their names are similar. I do that sometimes. But, yeah. So we can assume...
doubles, I guess.
We can assume that as the rounds go on, then, Tivik'ka will continue. Eris,
I will.
what are you up to during this time? Eris, you are muted.
I'm unmuted now. Okay.
Cool.
So I got two very different plans, but I just want a little bit more clarification on the dust of disappearance. Because I wrote down that I had one, but I didn't write down the technical stuff. How many people? And so, yeah, could you just walk me through that real quick? I'm sorry.
I will hunt down the text real quick.
I'm so sorry. Because depending how it works, what Eris might do, if you can turn enough people invisible with it, I think she would go into the center of the group of like the fighting and use it, and then try and turn everyone invisible from each other. And
That's really funny.
that's the goal.
There you go.
That's the best plan I've ever heard. That's hilarious.
You and each
So-
creature and object within 10 feet of you. So,
Fucking yes.
if you just run in, you can probably get, like, 6 people. Just,
But not the whole group.
no, because each tile is 30 feet. So, yeah. No.
All right, well, I have a second plan too, where it's just very different. I'm sorry. I thought it'd be easier to make a choice. Is there any possible way I could get everyone within 10 feet of me? Is that physically possible, would you say?
No. I don't think... Because let's see.
Not like
standard.
by force, but what if I could coerce everybody?
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16... Okay, so you... Now that I'm actually, like, counting tiles, technically if everybody was in a clump, you could probably get a lot more than 6. You would just have to fight your way to the center of them. Because I'm kind of just looking now, like, if that's our center tile, you've got 8 around you in a 5-foot radius. And then you've got however many that is, well, like, 15? Yeah. So you could probably get a whole token of them within 10 feet of you. So I will make that amend. You just
Okay.
have to somehow cram your way in between everybody, which...
I know.
Yeah.
I still couldn't get everybody. I'm so sorry that I'm taking some time with this. You know what? I think I am gonna do that. I think she's going to, as soon as she sees like a group go in, like for a big ol' squeeze, she might even drag some people with her. She'll definitely drag Leo in. I'm assuming he's gonna try and like get off or get off in a way. She'll be like, just like, she probably won't say any words. She'll just grab him by the collar and like start to pull him in. And she then will use it and try to turn herself invisible as well. And then I want to know what the remaining not invisible people are doing after I attempt that. Do I need to make any checks or anything?
So the object will work. It will get you and all the people. We'll roll for how long it works. So the only thing is that I think there's almost no way for you to get into position without taking some opportunity attacks. So that'll be the only cost of doing this.
That's
Otherwise, it will work.
I am willing to take some opportunity attacks.
And you do have 19 AC, and these are just normal pike soldiers. So you might be fine. You might be not hit at all. Let's see. Okay. Alright, that was definitely 2 hits. So that'll be 6 piercing damage and 7 piercing damage for a total of 13. As just a clamor of pikes, some of whom are coming from soldiers you can see, and some you don't, just all start flailing around you. Some you duck under, some clink off the edges of your well-made armor, but a couple just get through in some of the nicks and slits in the armor, and you end up taking 13 piercing. Other than that, you can easily just poof that entire token invisible, and you would be invisible as well. So would Leo. So I will... Oh, that makes him actually invisible to you guys. Let me, Is that invisible? That's paralyzed. That's flying. That's stunned. I gotta zoom in real quick. Okay. There we go. No, that's blind. Jeez. Well, I don't know if it matters too much which one I use. We know what it means. But, yeah. Let me just go ahead and... Yeah, fuck it. I'll use the blind one.
That's okay. An eyeball, we'd kind of be like, yeah.
Yeah, you get it.
Yeah.
So, there's that. Yeah, you're both invisible. And you will remain invisible for...
Yeah, 2d4.
7 minutes.
Okay.
So you and Leo are invisible for 7 minutes, along with a cluster of soldiers, some of whom were probably on your side, and definitely a few aren't. The effect goes away when people attack or cast a spell. So a lot of the soldiers...
What about a cantrip?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I didn't know that counted as a spell. Nah. Okay, because I think I'm gonna use the other plan I have as well, like to make this. Well, I could still. Okay. This is fucking wild what I'm about to do, y'all. Okay. So to try and distract then everyone else who's just fighting each other, she's going to, I don't know how much time we have, but my plan is that she would hide behind this bush.
Okay.
And then she would, so the goal is to be, I know she's invisible, but she's about to not be, so I don't want her to be seen behind the bush. Mm-hmm. And so all at once, using, I guess produce flame and burning hands, whatever can like spark this bush into being like a big flame all at once. She would then like kind of using her projection voice and everything and lighting this bush on fire. She would say, "All of you, silence! You speak of knowing who's corrupt and who is not. All of you are. Now listen to me, the fallen. I will show you the right path. Bow to me." And then, as long as nobody comes around the bush, she will just try and pretend to be the fallen bush.
Okay. So, as you are getting all of this prepared, kind of getting out of the way of everything invisibly, there is a pause in the fighting, and then eventually one of the soldiers makes an attack and reveals himself, and he is immediately by a bunch of other attacks, and then all those pikemen have revealed themselves, and it just kind of begins again. People lose their invisibility pretty quickly, but they all start fighting each other again. You get into position. Leo gets over here. You see him right as you're finishing your speech. He is crouched behind the sandbags.
Do I actually see him?
Yes, you see him crouched behind the sandbags.
He's invisible.
He is about to cast a spell.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
You see him behind the sandbags. slowly drawing a glowing blade as this dust of disappearance reveals. And he looks to you, and I am going to roll a die. Okay. His eyes widen. And he looks to you. Of course. Should have never trusted you.
Oh my god.
And he's going to try to tackle you down into the river. So
I'm gonna off myself right now.
Jump on the zip line.
It
That's
goes
the wrong
the other
direction.
way.
Oh, it goes the other way? Ah, damn, you're right.
Yep. Okay.
Uh,
I need you to roll an athletics check real quick.
no worries. Yeah, she'll try it, not hurt him, but I don't know. She will react, in a protective way for herself. Okay, athletics. Good. Where are you? There we go. Oh, hell yeah, baby. That's good, baby. That's a 25.
Okay. So Leo starts grappling with you. You quickly weave your arms around. You get him in the disadvantageous position. Are you just going to hold on to him, push him back, or throw him off instead?
I am going to, can I, in the quick moment and in this moment, can I tell if he just really bought my bullshit speech or if he's, also corrupted? Can I tell?
You'd have to roll insight.
Okay. I will do that.
Okay.
Okay, that's a 12.
You think that he believed it, and he was looking for somebody to blame, and you were the easiest person to blame, and you made yourself the easiest person to blame, because these are his soldiers that he's known for years and fought with for years. And the last thing he'd want to believe is that one of them turned first, without some sort of outside influence.
Okay, for a split second, she's gonna think about keeping him in a position and try and talk with him, but also, realizing there's fighting going on over there, and there's her allies, and she can only imagine what they're dealing with. She's actually gonna yeet him in the river and not deal with it.
Okay. So Leo screams out. You see the magic of his blade stop shimmering, and he just starts flowing down the river. And yeah, he will be moving quickly with the rapids and essentially not be an issue anymore within seconds. Okay, all this chaos going on, Leo thrown off the river, Tivik'ka taking out the mages despite Eileen's pleads not to, Cyril and Calloway hiding as these archers are screaming out that they need to eradicate the remnants of the shepherd. We will now go back to you, Calloway. What are you doing right now?
Okay, so you said I got about half of their arrows out and into the river.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to start, Calloway will summon the echo next to him on the other side of Cyril, and they'll both draw their bows, and Calloway will take his shots, but every time he takes out an arrow, and he kind of sighs, and he reaches into his bag, and he pulls out this kind of rubber tip and slips it onto the tip of the arrow, and he leans over to Cyril and says, "I was teaching my son how to shoot a bow, and I guess I kept these around for a reason." And then he'll draw the arrows and try to use this as just flavor-wise for non-lethal damage on the people who still have their arrows. He's going to start aiming for their foreheads and try to knock them all out.
Okay.
With arrows.
Cool. So, just make a series of attacks in this sort of loose, large-scale combat, and I will do the same. And meanwhile, Cyril's going to remain in complete cover. As you see, he's just kind of in shock and trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah. That was a 31
Okay.
for the first one.
I'll let you know now. Just go ahead and make 5, and anything above a 15, you're going to hit.
Okay. So 1 hit, 2 hit, red hit, natural 1, 17, dirty 30.
Okay. So other than that, natural 1, you're hitting, and your hits are powerful enough to take out the archers. So 4 of them taken out in this lapse of time. Meanwhile, you just got hit once for 9 points of piercing damage.
Okay.
Otherwise,
we have 10 temp HP from Tivik'ka.
I believe
Is that
11.
correct? 11?
Yeah.
Sweet.
So, minus 9 from that. Okay, so you're just doing what you can, having this archer fight. I'm going to roll a check for Cyril real quick.
He does not seem like he's gotten taken by this thing, has he?
You can roll insight for more knowledge, but it doesn't seem so.
Okay.
He seems overwhelmed. He doesn't seem violent. He just seems overwhelmed and not sure.
If I have enough time in our loose action economy, I will make an insight check just to make sure. That is 27.
He is just scared.
Mm-hmm.
This is not at all... He spent the whole day preparing, and then this happened, and he just... He doesn't know what to do. He's frozen. That's all.
Okay. If he ever, seems like he's about to get up or anything, either whoever's not currently shooting an arrow, either of the Callaways will kind of just shove him back down on the ground, just so that he stays in place and safe.
Okay. Meanwhile, Tivik'ka, would you just continue to work your way through the mages?
Not quite.
Okay.
So after that first little bout, they will just out to everyone say, now, for those of you that have withstood this corruption, I suggest that you get yourselves to the ground and show yourselves to be no threat. And all those that remain, I will be forced to consider corrupted by this force and dealt with accordingly.
And one of them looks up to you amidst some of the shoving and fighting. Corrupted? You just killed my friends. What should make me think you're not corrupted?
I stand here against Ambrose, against the Fallen, and against this false Azrio. You can choose to believe me in this moment or not, but I will not suffer your indecisiveness.
Alright. Go ahead and roll intimidation.
That was sad. I'm guessing that's going to fail a lot, so I'm also just going to preemptively add my d4 to that. That was then a 7 plus 3, so a 10.
Okay.
Do I get advantage from literally just killing people?
No.
Please?
You don't.
No.
That's why they want to attack you in the first place, so no. So, about half of the mages will start fighting you, the other half will start fighting that half. And again, you don't even know if the ones fighting you are with the Fallen anymore. All you know is you hurt them, so now they're hurting you. So,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the directions were clear enough. Like, if anyone hasn't just resigned themselves to the ground to show that, like, to like prone themselves essentially, especially those coming towards them, they're just gonna keep just blasting out in that 50-foot line.
okay. So you just keep doing that. Go ahead and roll damage for me. Like, we'll do 5 times as well.
Okay, and I will say that any that do make it within 5 feet of me, like, I get their, sorry, just counting there. I get that they're mages, so they're probably not going to come that close, but any that do will also take a d10.
Okay. I'll keep it in mind. So that's easily 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So you would have been hit 3 times for small amounts of damage. A total of 13 fire damage from fire bolts. But other than that, with that amount of damage, you wipe them out. And Eileen and the other mages watch as some of them even stop helping, as they just watch in shock as you easily wipe through 8 or 10 of them. And Eileen just falls to her knees and begins to let out a shriek and a wail, and drops any concentration on any spells. And finally, back to Eris. So, it seems that some of them, after a few rolls, did turn and start to listen to you, especially after Leo attacked you. That made it more convincing. Any of them that turn and start to show you reverence, the other ones start attacking. Within seconds.
Okay.
What are you up to?
Real quick, can I do just a quick look around and see, is there any way that there is a possible anything in the vicinity that is causing this chaos?
Okay, you want to see if you can spot where the corruption began, or if there's a presence or something.
Yeah, is it if there's a person emitting it, or if it's like anything.
Okay, go ahead and make a perception check as you just scan the area.
Oh no, it rolled so far away, but that's good. It was a good roll. So, let me look here. A 16.
Okay. You're looking, and you're looking, and you can't really see anything at first. But you do eventually see a presence of some sort, as all the way up in this upper right-hand corner,
Oh boy.
you see a faint glow. It's similar to the aura that Bale's green glow had the 2 times that he revealed
That
himself
little
to you.
bitch.
But it is not green. It is a very dark, dim red that just faintly glows amongst the trees all the way up in the northeast.
But some of the squad are still fighting people, right?
Yeah, I mean the ones that are left are still all attacking each other with no discernible sides.
But some people seem like they bought my thing.
Mm-hmm.
she will, and I think she's fire resistant, so she may take some fire damage with this.
Okay.
But she will walk through the burning bush, past the people who are giving her acknowledgement, and basically like to the ones that are still like uncertain. And she will say, "Still don't believe me? I have something to show you. Follow me if you want to see proof of my power. All of you." And then she will start to walk towards that thing.
Okay. So we can easily...
Maybe walking through the burning bush helped. Maybe seeing some energy helps. I don't know.
All right. Do you want to just walk up to like this bridge and just start heading that way?
The one that... Yes, yeah.
Okay. All right. So you can just start heading that way. Meanwhile... All right. Eventually, people do start to run forward, start joining, getting up towards you. You turn around and you see them. It's about 4 bloodied pikemen. Every other pikeman is laying on the ground. Anything else?
Only 4?
Yeah, everyone else is dead. Or at least down.
Damn. Okay. That's fine, I guess. That's what I could do.
Alright. And Leo, meanwhile, still going.
Going on a little trip down the river.
And we'll roll for him real quick. That is a fail. Alright. At first you heard yelling. You don't anymore.
Oh no.
Okay. With that said, a lot of these groups are whittled down. There's not many archers left that have arrows. The ones that don't are just pulling out knives and fists and just pummeling the shit out of each other. Anytime somebody tries to run towards you and Cyril, Calloway, they get pulled back into it. There's only a few of them left. These mages, at least half of them murdered by Tivik'ka, at least another quarter of them killed by each other, as Eileen weeps on the ground as all of her friends are dying. These other remaining mages are still scrapping it out with one another. And Eris, yours is the only fight that has concluded, with 4 pikemen following you. So Calloway, in this last chunk as we cut back to you, Cyril he peeks over the bags briefly before tumbling back down. You hear him let out a very shaky breath, and he just starts hyperventilating. He falls apart. What are you doing with the remaining 5 or 6 archers that are fighting each other and don't even seem to be paying attention to you? And I believe you're muted.
Damn it. Okay, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm muted. Okay. So between arrow shots, as Calloway continues to try to just make all of these people unconscious so that it is no longer an issue, he will try his best to settle Cyril down. He'll just kind of, after taking a shot, and be like, just breathe through your nose. In and out. In and out, and try to walk him through breathing, and just trying to calm him down as best as he can under the circumstance.
Okay.
And then he'll say, most of them are alive. I think. Are most of them, did I knock most of them out, or did most of them get killed?
It's probably about 50-50.
Okay.
You've certainly saved some lives.
Okay. Then I'm not actually going to say anything, because there's nothing I can say about the situation to make it any better for him. Don't worry, only half of your troops are dead.
Yeah, that you can just probably refrain from that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just take your last few volleys, and as things are wrapping up, there's really no need to roll. You can just, of the 6 or so that are left, you can neutralize 4 of them, and the other 2 that you didn't quite get to end up killing each other. And that is that. Tivik'ka, nobody is fighting you anymore. And there's only a few of the mages left. Eileen can't even look at you. Anything you're doing?
I mean, they're just gonna try to appeal to them again, just, you know. You don't consider yourself an enemy to the White Flame, I suggest you get to the ground. And no more bloodshed needs to happen.
Alright. And the few that are left will, trembling, crying, they will all lay down. And finally, Eris. You've got these 4 following you. It's hard to even tell if it is pure fear that is causing them to follow you, or true belief, but they're here. And
Right.
what are you doing?
After me and my squad crossed the bridge,
Okay.
she would turn to them and say, "Wait here. I fear that unleashing the power would be too much for you if you get any closer." And basically, because she doesn't really know what she's about to fuck with, she just wanted them to stop fighting, and then she will by herself go to the thing that she found.
Okay. One last roll for Leo. He sinks under.
Oh.
You see.
It really wasn't the goal of tossing him in there. I thought it was being merciful. Oh well.
Well, at least he didn't toss you into the river.
Yeah.
Also, I called
Put you
dibs
out.
on the glowing sword. If it's
He's just a
I
paladin. It's gone.
ah,
It's just a sword.
Goofy.
I like things.
I know. Okay. So Eris, you can get all the way up there as these other 2 chunks. The conflict finally begins to dim down a little. And it's just a red glow. And
Coming from nothing?
yeah. It's just a glow. A dome of dim light. And it seems to swell in brightness and then dim. And swell and dim. Almost like breath. And as you get a bit closer to it, within 50, maybe 30 feet, you eventually hear from within it, "Well done. Well done. Thank you." And then you don't hear anything else unless you respond.
What are you thanking me for? What are you?
You have chosen paranoia and ignorance again and again. Now there is only one thing you deserve to know. If you still don't want the Duke to have Ambrose's soul, you better chase me.
How do you know this? Where can I find you?
Just step in. That is all you ever needed to do. To step forward. To reach out. And to listen.
Eris will... I know there's like a ton of like foliage, but I think because they're on a... Tivik'ka is on an incline. Can Eris at least... Because I think it'd be hardest to make eye contact with Calloway.
Mm-hmm.
Can she at least make it with Tivik'ka?
There's enough of an incline that both of them, once the conflict has died down and they start to look out to the horizon, they could see you. Especially, at least they could see your silhouette against the dim red glow.
Uh-huh, okay. She will try and match eyes with Tivik'ka. And this is a little bit of poetic liberty here, but she would, with her eyes, and then she'll mouth the words, hopefully, that she can say, or read her lips a little bit. Eris will just mouth the words, "I hope I don't regret this," and then she will walk in.
Okay. So,
Giddy yikes.
as you two are gathering yourselves, trying to comprehend how this began, the things you had to do, the choices you've made now, the side that you tried to stand for, the side that you may have ended up on, you see Eris. Eris looks to the both of you, mouths those words towards Tivik'ka, turns back, and as she steps into the red seems to swallow. Just... And Eris, from the perspective of the other two, is gone. And the red glow remains exactly where it is. Still visible to both of you.
Yeah, I mean...
Go ahead.
As she's doing that and all that's happening, Tivik'ka will just quickly, like, kind of almost bark back at Eileen just to manage them, and they're going after the glow as quickly as they can.
Okay. And for Calloway?
Calloway is going to try to... Oh, I just dropped my headphones. Give me 1 second. That was pretty lame of me. Okay, sorry. Calloway is going to try to get Cyril across the bridge to Eileen, since he's freaking out, and she's probably freaking out. And if they're freaking out together, they're at least not freaking out alone.
Okay.
And then he will, just because he doesn't have fancy floating powers, will use the zip lines to try to get across quickly.
All right.
To also go towards the red.
So you unite Cyril and Eileen as much peace as that can bring them. And using the zip lines, yes, you are able to catch up, as it were. And eventually the two of you would approach that glow as well. And you hear the same words. Not that you know they were the same, but you hear the same words Eris heard. Well done. Do you wish to follow your companion?
I mean, does this flame thing, since we've had a little bit of experience, like, does this seem like Bale's kind of deal?
So, it is not a flame. It is just light.
Oh, it's a blur?
It's a mirage that originates from nowhere. So I will make that distinction real clear. But, yeah, it is similar. It is similar to how green light just seemed to come out of cracks in the rocks, with seemingly no origin. How it almost just seemed like a pocket dimension that had manifested on the land. That much is definitely similar.
I don't want to go in there. And if Calloway tries to make any moves, I think Tivik'ka will kind of like try and stop him.
What can we do from out here?
I might have an idea. And they are going to try and scry on Eris.
Oh my god.
Which, I mean, Eris would have to make a wisdom saving, but I don't know if she would.
Yeah, I'd let you.
Or not. But I don't know if you'd know if it's me. I don't know what the ruling is there.
Well, go ahead and drop the
Don't
text.
don't you have to see if they can realize that they're being scryed on to begin with?
Right,
Yeah,
Oh yeah, no, it is a
God, I
wisdom
think
saving
that's
throw to
terribly.
even, yeah.
All right. Since I know what's going on here, let me read the particulars real quick, and I'll figure out what happens.
Okay.
Oh, right there. You can see and hear a particular creature you choose that is on the same plane of existence as you.
Mm.
So,
Must have to be same plane. Oh shit.
yeah, that's automatic failure. And Tivik'ka, you can tell as soon as you attempt it that Eris is not on the material plane right now. At least
Yeah,
not
I mean,
this one. She's somewhere.
We can't let her go in there alone.
so you're suggesting that we follow?
Do you have any better suggestions?
There's not in this moment.
In
But
for a
what
copper.
happens here? If we leave, we don't know if we can come back. We don't know if by stepping through, all of what we're working towards suddenly becomes null.
You stay here. Help these people get back on their feet. Go make sure Ambrose is still where he needs to be. I'll go after her. I think this is the safer area. She's in there alone. Fuck all could happen.
I have no way of reaching you two if you are there. My talisman cannot bring me to you, nor you to me. Once you go through, you are alone.
Okay. I'll see you on the other side then.
Pray to Azrael that this is wise.
At this point, I don't give a shit. Like I said, in for a copper, and then he'll jump through the thing.
Okay. And it seems to swallow Calloway whole as well, disappearing without a trace.
Yeah, Tivik'ka would have given a bit of a sour look at you when you're just like, you know, I don't care, like, with that whole line. But yeah, they're gonna do what they say. They're headed straight towards where the jail and like holding cells were to make sure that that's not all fucked.
Okay. So, Tivik'ka, we'll start with you then. Late at night, the sudden surge of chaos that began over in minutes. Still no sign of the cultists anywhere. And as soon as you get into the building, Melchior is at the front, and Ambrose is toward the back, of course, but you see Melchior first. And amongst him, the 4 guards that you had left there. 3 are dead. 1 is laying, bleeding out. And Melchior is looking toward the sky, hands folded, tears in his eyes and a smile on his face. Just, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
They're gonna go to the one guard that's still bleeding out. We'll just give, I guess, a small little boost of healing. Only, 6 points. Just so they're not gonna die on me.
Yeah. Okay.
But then just ask what happened.
Yeah, and the guard that's left, she kind of, blood running out of her lips, a dent in her armor, and she just... It all makes sense now. It all makes sense. This is how every invasion happened. This thing just takes over, and before anyone can think straight, we all kill each other. And then Ambrose strolls in, takes whatever's left.
I'm going to ask you to keep your wits about you. This exact desperation and despair is exactly what allows Ambrose to win. If you have faith in Asriel, that is the strength and power that we need to get ourselves through this. Without that, they will win. Gesturing kind of like to Melchior and Ambrose.
So what did your faith tell you to do? Because my faith told me not to kill my friends. My faith told me that I should try to reason with the people that still had some wit about them, but before long they were targeting me. I couldn't... Who did you kill? How'd you make it? Are you okay with that? Do you see it as some sort of will of Asriel? That all these innocents died? That we killed everyone for him? That he didn't need to lift a finger and we did exactly what he wanted us to? Is that your faith?
Distraught. I understand that. What has happened here is not anyone's liking, not how anyone would have wished it to go down. But I need you to keep your composure. I need you to keep yourself settled. Take breaths. Do a deal with what happened here once all the dust has fallen. But for now, rambling helps nothing.
That's the problem with the three of you. Anyone tries to change your mind about anything, you call it rambling. You call it misguided. You strike it down.
Please, this is not the time for this. If you wish to leave, then I'm happy for you to be dismissed. Although I will be honest, I would prefer that you would be here. Be able to help make sure that those two, what all of this was for, remain exactly where they are.
Sure. And otherwise, the guard will just look to the ground, unmoving, unspeaking.
We could also just do like a quick check on the other two that were there, just in case there are still signs of fatality that could be healed up. But in the case that there isn't, they, I guess, will station themselves as like the little guardian here, and just be ready to deal with anyone that enters.
Okay.
I don't want to acknowledge like Melchior or Ambrose or anything. Just let them sit there.
Okay. With that said, Tivik'ka will remain in this cell with a guard that has lost her faith and a captured Melchior and Ambrose and 3 dead bodies. And as far as where Eris and Calloway are, we will see after our short 5-minute break. So, we're going to reconvene at 8:38, or I should just say 38, for our various time zones. Thank you so far. Hope everybody's having fun, whatever the word fun means in a session like this. And hope everybody watching has enjoyed this. We'll pop back and get about 1 more hour of stuff in. Joe noises. Pew, 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 pew. Welcome back, everybody. How we doing? My name is Mark. This is Roll with Advantage. And this is the campaign. So, where we just left off a few minutes ago, everything went to shit. The majority of the fighters in Theowaldo killed one another. Some of the party members helped that happen. Now 2 of them are in a weird red blob, and 1 of them is in a holding cell with some corpses. Things are going great. So, all of that said, we are going to go ahead and actually begin with the 2 of you that went into the redness. So, get our ambient pulled up there. So, all of the chaos, bloodshed, innocence lost, all of the black and white of this situation made as gray as possible in just a matter of minutes, as some unknown force made people start turning on one another. Eris, you walked into the beckoning presence, not knowing what else to do, not knowing where it would lead, only feeling compelled to go forward, to keep trying to do the right thing, as you have tried this whole time you've been here, even if, again and again, it seems like you don't have enough information to make those kind of choices. And what you are met with is a much different realm. You can feel that you've entered some other plane of existence. One that mirrors this one, but is much different. You sort of feel like you're in the Forest of Ash still, but like you're in some primordial, twisted, hellish version of it. Reddish-orange glow all around you. Foliage blending seamlessly into the ground and the sky in confusing, directionless patterns. Now we'll pull everybody now to the screen, as it only takes about 60 seconds as you soak in this alien environment before Calloway appears behind you and sees the same thing. I'll pull you all now to the screen of the Vein of Corruption. So, Calloway and Eris in this strange, unwelcoming, inhuman environment. You can sense rumbling in the distance, a thick heat in the area. What do you do?
Is this like what you know when you walk in the untrodden path of a forest where it's like literally so hard to like traverse through? Or does there feel like there is some kind of path?
As far as you can tell, there's basically no pathway. It is unblazoned. Just plants growing everywhere.
Well, first, before moving on, Eris would kind of reconnect with Calloway, kind of maybe hearing him enter. And she would kind of go forward and then, like, not a hug, but you know, the whole, like, I'm trying to think, like, war clasp, like, medieval, like, on the shoulders, and is like, I don't know where we are, but thank you for coming with me.
Couldn't let you do it alone. Tivik'ka, they stayed behind to look after and make sure nothing happened to Ambrose.
That's fine. We can't leave them broken. If all three of us went and don't come back, all we did was leave them in ruin.
We don't have any way to contact them, but it's gonna be alright.
My friend, I know you have a family, and I'm so sorry, but we may not come back.
I made my peace with not coming back many years ago, and something tells me it won't be so easy this time.
She'll kind of look to the ground. I led many friends to death in our war against Tarkir. I feel sick doing it again. I didn't intend for you to follow. I understand you made your peace, but I'm sorry.
Well, let's just make a deal then. I won't let you die, and you won't let me die, and that way neither of us will die.
I appreciate the optimism. And this time she will pull him in for a hug.
He will reciprocate. What made you decide to jump in here anyway?
What other choice did I have? I saw the source of corruption. I saw not only me struggling with my troops, but both of you. Someone had to go in there and tell this bitch we're not their pawn. These people deserved to live. They did not deserve to fall apart at the seams. They had something beautiful going on in a land that was cruel and harsh and didn't deserve to be rebuilt, but they wanted to. And that's how I feel about Machavia. It deserves to be rebuilt. The people deserve it.
I want my son to have the best life he can have. And if me giving up mine is the way I can make sure that happens, I will jump into hell 10 out of 10 times.
Then let's pave that way for him, for all the youth.
For Machavia.
For Machavia. For Azrael.
Right.
She'll give him a wink at that last moment. But then start to, I guess, I don't think she'd be going through like cutting down things, because this doesn't seem like the most friendly environment, but like trying to make their way through the never before trotted land of whatever the fuck this is.
While you're doing that, you can kind of see Calloway kind of just look up and around, noticing just how bad the terrain is. And his echo starts to kind of float out of him directly up. About, 10 or 15 feet to just get a higher vantage point. And as Calloway walks, his echo walks on top of the air with him, which is something that the echo can do, which is cool, that I found out that they can be in the air.
Nice.
And I will just have him as a second pair of eyes above me to see what else is, if there's anything over any of the plant life. I don't know.
The image in my head of a second Callaway floating on top of the first one is equal parts creepy and cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, start to wander, making your way somewhere. You just start moving, there's nothing else to do, there's no use in sitting still. Eventually you get the sense that the trees are forming toward each other, narrowing, and even though there's not really a blazoned trail of any sort, there's a more clear direction to head into. More like there's not much other way to go if you continue to go forward. And eventually, the two of you experience simultaneously just a slightly strange sensation. It's a bit like the feeling you get when you jump off a tree or go down a steep slope, that sort of lift you get in your gut as the air rushes through you. And both of you, at first not sure if the other one notices it, but you see the same thing. You feel the same thing. There's almost a ghost in this area. Just the faintest outline of a person. Just 30 or so feet in front of you. And they just breathe. Long, deep breaths. And you kind of look at it and look to each other. You both notice then that you're seeing the same thing. And what do you do?
So it's just a figure? Can we tell, like, humanoid or how large it is?
Humanoid figure, probably female based on some features, but it's hard to tell. And
you said that they're breathing heavy as they're like lumbering this way?
No, just not heavy so much as deep. Just almost meditative.
Callaway doesn't grab at his bow, but the echo above him will grab at the bow and an arrow, just to have somebody with a weapon in their hand, just in case.
Eris has a weapon in her hand always. You don't really put a halberd away.
Yeah.
That is true.
I guess you could. You have to be really tall, though.
Yeah.
She will step forward, not getting too close, but she will then kind of like get near enough that she knows this thing will hear her. And knowing that Callaway tends to be more of the sneaky, speedy kind, and her being a little bit more of the frontliner, she'll just kind of keep that going. And she will kind of like firmly putting or stabbing her halberd into the ground. She'll say, "I'm Eris Lebez, and I have come for answers. Can you help me?"
And there's a slow turn of the head from just this very faintly outlined, transparent figure stands before both of you now. You're from a different time. You're from later. This place. In your time. What does it look like?
I'm sorry, what?
Where we stand.
Yeah, what?
You have stood here before, but in your time. You now stand in it in mine. What has become of this land?
Calloway will kind of whisper to Eris, what the fuck does he mean by, or what the fuck does she mean by time?
I'm not sure.
What?
If you're referring to this place exactly, I can honestly say that I am not sure where I stand right now. I believe I asked you a question first and would appreciate an answer.
You speak so sharply to things that can kill you in an instant. I ask because your answer will contain mine. This place is corrupt. And I have no doubt that one day it will be corrupt again. All I must know is this vein of corruption, if something more beautiful remains in its place now, in the day you are from.
If this is Theowaldo, then yes, whenever I am from versus now, it is beautiful. People laugh, plants thrive, animals live in harmony with everyone. It is beautiful. Are you saying this is what Theowaldo once was, or what will be?
Once was. Before I cleansed it. Now, it seems one has been inspired to cleanse it again. I only hope something more beautiful than even it takes its place. That life grows from that ash at 500 years from now. It is as unthinkable to the people of that future as this realm must be to you. Very well. I may answer you. In the days that the theocracy was first forming, I was one of its most powerful conquerors. Somewhere along the way, even though I did exactly what Machavian wished of me, I was viewed as a fiend. I was told I was greedy, paranoid, corrupt. But as far as I could understand, I was Machavia manifest. I was exactly what they asked me to do. To find corruption, purify it, and unify what was left under one God. I did just that. I was taken to hell, knowing that even though Azrael may have turned on me, and even though Baal may have caught my eye, the Empire would benefit from what I'd done. I'm very glad to hear this land is beautiful now. That it may be even more beautiful centuries from now.
Why would Azrael not support you if what you were doing was truly what was right for Azrael, for Machavia? If you truly believed that what you were doing was right, he should have supported you.
I agree. I've asked that for centuries.
Then that means it wasn't.
If Azrael is a pure god, yes, it would. Is he? Or is he just as greedy as I was? Did he not like that I was rubbing the truth of his demands for a theocracy in his face?
No, corruption doesn't come from Azrael, it comes from people.
Many of whom follow Azrael.
Correct, but that doesn't mean they're pure. No one's pure fully. Only Azrael is. We make mistakes, but we have to learn and grow from them, not double down.
If we're meant to grow, why do we conquer? Why do we take those that could also be learning and smite them down? Let goodness grow from the ash, rather than from the living being.
I agree, but to my knowledge, that's the approach you took. Was instead of trying to teach and help people grow from the things they misinterpreted or misunderstood or just were wrong about, you also plowed through just purifying with death. At least that's to my knowledge and everything I know about you.
All it took was a little fear. Just a small amount of fear and paranoia, and well, any of them would become like me. What just happened in that village? What's happened in all of them before you got here? Well, if any of them lived long enough, they'd end up just like me. I did what I was told. And if you truly believe what you're saying, then perhaps the Empire doesn't need to hold on to this region any longer. But as long as that greed remains, as long as the idea of Machavia is made manifest by those who truly believe in it 100%, there will always be some for which this is the result.
Macavia has a long way to go. It is broken. But that doesn't mean we should give up. It doesn't mean we should eat each other from the inside out. I don't have the answers, but I know this isn't it.
Perhaps you're of the persuasion that in eliminating the corruption of this region, I became the very corruption that haunts it. Well, if you were sent here to purify, purify. Or turn away. Let the Duke take the Exarch's soul. Let the subservient Calamine return to the north. And let his plan proceed. One day, no matter how dark it becomes, the defeat of me, of Baal, of everyone here, will leave a glorious blanket of ash, and it will rise into something more beautiful than you can imagine.
Is there no end to that cycle?
Perhaps not. But once you've taken hundreds of lives, once you've seen the minutiae of it all, it feels more clear. Of course, you on your body, if you had a harmful growth or an infection, you would try to heal it. And if it couldn't be healed, you would cut it off. And as long as Macavia tries to be one body, rather than hundreds, there will always be tumors to cut. For the good of the whole. No matter who needs to dirty their hands and live in sin and disgrace to do it.
Why is that the only way? Why have you given up?
It's the only lasting way I've found. I tried what you're recommending for decades. So did Ambrose. I think it's possible to live too long. We need the naive to keep that hope. But we need the old. We need the old to make terrible decisions that the young never would. Terrible decisions that need to get made. I know you do not agree. But I hope you at least understand.
No, I don't. I too have done things that I'm so ashamed of, and I want to cut it out of me. But that's not progress. And she will start to slowly move towards them.
Okay.
Not hostile, just getting closer. I think your wisdom knows deep down that you have to keep trying, that there is another way. It is so much easier to give up, to become hopeless. Like you said, living too long, seeing the bad. I've seen a lot of bad. Calloway has seen a lot of bad, and Machavia has seen a lot of bad, but the rest of the world has seen a lot of good. And then as she gets even closer, she won't touch them, but she will just try and, have her presence known. Why doesn't Machavia deserve what everyone else can have as well? We're looking at this in an isolated instant, and yes, the other places have bad too. But there's so much good still.
Don't we all deserve something good?
Even you.
You speak well. And I have learned, regretfully, many words can be hollow. So, if I may see the hope in your eyes, if it is somehow still there, perhaps I can believe you. And she will take a bit of a step closer to just look at you closely, Eris. And in summation of this entire conversation, I would like you to roll persuasion.
Okay, where did it go? All right. Come on, baby. That is a 23.
Hell yeah.
23. Okay. She just looks for a long time. Her hardly present translucent figure staring back, eye to eye. And she'll eventually look upward and draw another long, deep breath. I see confusion. I see regret. But I don't see greed. I will share with you something I am not supposed to. Ambrose believes he understands my visions. He does not. Bale knows this. And Bale prefers for Ambrose to think that they are enemies, while he helps them all along. Much as the three of you helped me purify that village. despite standing in opposition. The one who knows with full sanity what has happened is his coadjutor Calamine. If you truly have hope, and what I am about to tell you doesn't break it, you are truly a marvel. Baal has spent the past 300 years safely and patiently building his hand in Machavia's government. There are 4 corrupt high exarchs that already sit in place. When Ambrose dies, Calamine will clear his name and take his place. And finally, they will be able to win any vote against the other exarchs. 5-3. They will listen to Baal's wish, and they will let their greed soil their hands as the corrupt 8 exarchs ruin Machavia from within, turn it into a pool of sin from which Baal can pull an entire new generation of forces, steal them from Azrael. That is the entirety of his plan. And whether or not you offer Baal Ambrose's soul, he, I, and Calamine will do everything to make sure the corruption of the Exarch Circle completes. The Emperor is completely on their side. Any attempt to persuade him of such corruption will result in trial by death for blasphemy and treason. It will only take a matter of decades, for the Empire is in ruins, and none but the 3 of you, and perhaps that cleric of Palor in the sanctuary, will understand what has happened. I cannot turn from Baal. I am bound by blood, and I will be for as long as my soul remains intact. But you now have information you were never meant to have. And from one Machavian to another, I wish that whatever you do, it is for the sake of the Empire and its people.
I know you don't know me well, but I will always protect Machavia's people.
Very well. That means
Being
Go on.
I was just gonna... Actually, why don't you talk? Because the next thing I was gonna say was kind of ballsy, and I kind of want to hold off if I can.
Okay. Yeah, she'll look to the side. Very well. Then, we must be in opposition. Had we met under other circumstances, perhaps you would have been a remarkable ally. But now, I have my deity, and you have yours. If you wish to secure Ambrose's soul, you must continue to pursue me in the cavern to the west. And the specter will slowly start to fade away. Is there anything the two of you say before that happens?
Why do we have to be in opposition? Don't you want something good for the people? We can release your soul. You can be free of him.
No, you can't. So hopeful. And other than that, she will fade off.
Eris will just take a deep breath and then turn to Calloway. What's his face like? What's on his mind?
He's pretty confused. By everything. Not by, like, confused by, like, not sure what just happened, but, like, he does not know what to make of everything that was just said.
Right. I mean, same. Eris is confused too, but she's confused why they're not allies.
I thought you were about to break through to her, and
I guess they're too far gone for emotion or reason to sway anything. Yeah, I still feel like releasing her will free her in a way, but I guess it's her choice to fight against it, though I'd rather not.
fear that if she's not dealt with either way, our conflict with Bale will just be even worse.
Absolutely. We have to go. We have to try.
I'm tired of killing things,
Me too.
but it's all I know.
All right. So, would the two of you head toward that cavern in the west then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And that is where we will leave the two of you for now. Let us go ahead and head back into Theowaldo North. Good shit, by the way, team.
Woo!
That was very fun. Okay. Tivik'ka, you have remained here for about half an hour, maybe 40 minutes at this point. Melchior has stopped praying to the sky, but there's still a faint smile on his face. Ambrose simply lays confused and a little out of it. And the guard that you healed, despite being completely demoralized by the situation, remains upright and ready. After a long while, the thing that gets your attention is an inhale. Ambrose sniffs as if he's caught something in the air. And he turns towards you. Fiends. Fiends are coming. My God. My holy symbol. If you wish for any aid, you must unchain me.
They're just gonna barely kind of recognize Ambrose and what he's saying. And to that guard that is still there, they're just gonna say, I suggest that you do not listen to him. I hope that I don't need to tell you that. But I need you to stay here. I need to tell the others about this. See what forces we have left to muster. I will return, though, however.
She'll just give a nod.
I'll just do just that. Like, go try and find Eileen or Cyril. Not what's his face? Oh no, I already thought. I feel like a bad person now.
So,
What's his name?
I don't know who you're referring to other than Cyril and Eileen.
The other guy that was leading, that floated down the river. Leo, there we go.
Oh, I mean, he's...
Yeah, he's gone, so not him. Anyway, that was a lot of
dead.
nothing. So, yeah, but go to try and find either Eileen or Cyril.
Okay.
Hopefully both.
So, Tivik'ka, you breeze past Ambrose and Melchior, leaving them where they are, and as soon as you get outside onto the pathway, you turn to your left to start heading down the trail toward the others. And for a second, you are threatened by the sudden appearance of a figure in the shadows. Somebody whose eyes seem to reflect in the night like an animal, glowing a whitish blue. Somebody who seems to have radiant energy glowing on one arm and necrotic energy glowing on the other. It only takes a second, though, before you realize who it is. Someone who you didn't expect to see already. You understand why she's called the Winter's Clutch now. Why so many are scared of her appearance, especially in the shadows of night. But as she appears and starts to walk slightly closer towards you, unbreathing, unblinking, you see that her body is covered in wounds from throughout the day. And she stops in her tracks as she looks to you. Bale started chasing me. Now I chase him. Do you have Ambrose?
We do. Are you suggesting that your chase of Bale led you here?
Don't move. And you'll see her just ready a spell in her hand and lock her gaze behind you. And now,
They will be
Tivik'ka, you
unmoving,
stand.
but like they're gonna have like very unbreaking, just kind of, I guess not eye contact because she's looking behind, but they're gonna be just staring at her very intently, listening, but also I hope this is a good thing kind of look.
So, you now stand in the middle of this trail. Lady Melina to your left. And to your right, you sense a faint green glow. Do you turn around?
Oh, they're gonna stay just stock still, just
Okay.
trusting Melina in this.
Alright. You hear the heavy footfalls, the large lumbering figure. And there's a stare-off. Lady Melina says nothing. You hear nothing behind you for a long while. And he just... I see bargains with Calamine were denied. There is no more room for talk. My plan is nearly complete. And you... And Bale is such a large, clumbersome creature that you swear, Tivik'ka, you can hear him turning. The mere act of his shoulders and neck shifting in your direction, you can almost feel it as much as you can hear it. You and your friends are about to make this much worse than it needs to be. Give me Ambrose. Or Lady Melina's sanctuary will fall. Prevent me from getting Ambrose. And all four of you will be exterminated. So none who live will know my plan.
I know she's very hard to read, but am I able to get any vibes from Melina for how she's taking this?
Yeah, so passive insight, nothing, but go ahead and roll. See if you can spot anything.
Okay. What's my... Okay. 24.
24. For a second, her eyebrows arch. One of her fists tightens. Her chest tightens as well, as if she is holding a breath. Even though you've never heard a breath be drawn in or out from her. And then she returns to normal. But for just that second, before she was back to her neutral death face. It was fear. She was definitely alarmed. And she definitely seems to believe that Bale can and will do that.
Am I able to read any, like, intent? Because, like, she wanted me to stay still and was, like, clearly prepping to do something. Am I able to tell if she's, like, if she's ready to act in this moment, or if it is just, you know, she's just there?
She hasn't seemed to have made any sort of decision. Your best interpretation of her actions with a 24 is that she is treating speaking to a devil like diffusing a bomb, and frankly, she just doesn't know you that well and doesn't want you to say a word. Doesn't want you to move, doesn't want you to try to make a decision of some kind. Not that you can't, but she seems like she wants to handle this herself, if she can, before somebody says something that makes the bomb go off, metaphorically.
Okay, this is useful information, so I won't do what I was planning to do.
Okay.
And so in that case, just the best that they're able to, like, they don't want to, you know, be moving physically and give anything away to Bale or mess up whatever she's planning, but, you know, kind of like just nod really, like, with their eyes, just like, you know, they're willing to follow her lead in this.
All right. So the look of worry leaves Melina's face as you interpret everything we just said for the past few minutes in a couple of seconds. And the silence persists for a moment before she returns the favor to Bale. I don't believe in negotiation with you. All that matters now is that you don't leave a trail of evidence for your plan. My sanctuary, overrun by your army. Even those who hate the man will see the bodies and the wounds and know it was not Ambrose. There is only one question now that matters. And Lady Melina will turn slowly towards you, Tivik'ka, her nocturnal eyes shedding a dim light as they lock on with you. Were you able to change Ambrose's heart?
I believe that if he is willing, I will do everything I'm able to convince him of the truth. That as a present, I believe that his mind is too muddled, too jaded by its corruption it has had to face.
Very well. She'll slowly turn back towards Bale. it seems you will be able to claim him. Unless Pelor claims him first. And you don't know what spell it was, what trick, but that Lady Melina you saw before you disappears with a blink. And Bale lets out a frustrated gasp as both you and he hear a rupturing sound and a flash of light from within the holding cell. And Bale, before you can hardly react, just mumbles, "Fine." And he weaves his hand in the air, and that red light of the fallen starts to claim the area quickly, overwhelmingly. And Tivik'ka, you try to move, you try to cast a spell, and there's nothing to be done. You're swallowed. And suddenly, all four of you appear somewhere. You, Tivik'ka, Lady Melina, and Eris and Calloway, just as you were entering the cavern. These two appear before you. And Tivik'ka, in your confusion, you look around, trying to process where you are. You're in some hot, wretched-smelling, blackened cavern that seems to have magma running along the walls and pooling on spots on the floor. You're in some large, hellish cavern room. Lady Melina turns to Eris and Calloway, and then to Tivik'ka, and she seems to still be holding out her hands in front of her, as if she had just been holding Ambrose. She slowly lowers them. And she just nods to the three of you. Pelor has him. He will be tested, but he is safe. Bale cannot have him anymore. And now the four of you stand in this cavern full of magma and putrid smell. As finally, before you, not as a specter, but as her true form, Tyria, the Fallen, stands before all four of you on the other end of the room.
Oh my god.
And she says to all four of you, "And now is our time to see who will be purified." And that is where we will end session 5
Well, shit.
of Rising Ash.
Mark,
Yeah,
please let me. In that time waiting in that jail area, short rest, please.
No.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
When would it have happened?
Oh, okay, that's fine. I've only got cantrips, y'all.
Alright. Well, you have a Lady Melina. That's a pretty good leg up. Alright, squad! Woo! Choices were made. And here we are.
Well,
I do wish... If there was any space for a long rest, but there just was not.
No, like short rest. That's all I need. Just an hour.
Yeah, no, I know, but
Wait.
there was not. There was none. All free time that was had after the fight was spent traversing through hell and talking to devils. So it was not exactly a rest.
Alright, somebody stall the Fallen for an hour while Tivik'ka takes a nap, and we'll be back.
talks for an hour. And it's like, no, for real. You cannot do this.
I don't know what you didn't understand, but you don't have to fight.
Let's go. Let's backtrack here. Okay, so let's rewalk our steps. Now, you know what would be even better? Let's go back to where we were talking. Okay, come on. Well, like, Tivik'ka lays down.
You beat that persuasion DC though and got that information.
Hell yeah. Too bad I didn't fucking miss a battle with that persuasion, but it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's only so much persuading you can do to somebody that is A, contracted by blood to a devil to serve him, and B, been doing it for 600 years. It's just...
It seems like she needs a fresh start.
Right.
But Tivik'ka, I imagine, is like that old Vine where that young toddler's like, I'm gonna take a nap.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take a nap right here. I'm gonna take a nap right here.
Listen,
okay.
I understand. You're all, Tivik'ka especially, 'cause Warlock, but I know you're all a little not at full capacity here.
I am actually okay for the most part.
I'm good.
Wow,
Wow,
how
okay.
nice must
Look.
that be for you?
You were too OP for the rest of it. You
It's
vanished.
true.
You did teleporting
I
things.
hit hard and then I need a nap. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This will be the only time in the campaign that you do pay the price for nerfing entire encounters. So I don't feel
know
too
what?
utterly
That is
bad.
fair.
That feels like a fair trade.
I'll take it.
You know, it feels like 3 of my battle maps went to waste, and this is a fair trade. Yeah, you can blast the Fallen and keep everybody alive.
You have the best cantrip.
It's
Like you
true.
have Eldritch Blast. Like that's a fucking great cantrip. So
I was also just thinking, I still got that potion of haste.
me too.
You
I have
all have all of your potions, so keep that in mind.
Just, like, drink
Oh, do
up.
we each have a
6
potion of
Eldritch
haste? I
Blasts
forgot
around.
about that.
Yeah, you each have a potion of haste, a potion of
And then a
fire
potion of
resistance,
healing.
and 2 potions of supreme healing.
Oh, wow.
Hell yeah.
Wait,
Yeah,
2
actually,
each?
I don't feel too bad now. I could do bloody 60-10 plus a bunch of 5s if I take that haste potion.
Yeah, you're good, fam.
I'm okay. I was
Hey,
lighting. I'm
I
sorry.
have a question about action economy for rogues.
I will
If
answer,
I-
but I'm gonna go ahead and stop streaming because
Oh, I didn't know we were still streaming. I'm so sorry. everybody.
I forgot. I completely forgot, and then we just started talking.
Bye, everybody.
Anyway, yeah, goodbye. Enjoy session 6 and probably 7 at this point, because now it's about to fight. Woo, poo, 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 poo.